Thanks, Aaron. Good evening, everyone. We begin tonight, keeping them honest, with what appear to be strong and decisive words from a politician in support of full equality for gays and lesbians. I'm not talking about President Obama, who yesterday announced he believed gays and lesbians should be able to marry. Tonight, we're talking about Mitt Romney, who 18 years ago said he supported, quote, full equality, end quote, for gays and lesbians. What's not clear tonight is what did that mean to Mitt Romney then, full equality, and what does he believe now? We're going to get into the specifics of what Romney wrote in just a moment 18 years ago. But first, news tonight about the timing of President Obama's comments yesterday. This report comes from CNN Chief White House correspondent Jessica Yellen. Two senior administration officials say Vice President Joe Biden met with President Obama in the Oval Office yesterday morning and apologized to the president for putting him in a tough position. You'll remember last weekend Biden spoke out on Meet the Press about same-sex marriage, saying it's a simple proposition of who you love, and that he's comfortable with same-sex couples having the same rights as heterosexual couples. After Biden apologized, the president responded by saying that he knows Biden was speaking from the heart. Biden's spokeswoman has also released this statement, quote, "The president has been the leader on this issue from day one, and the vice president never intended to distract from that." Unintended distraction or not, once President Obama voiced his support for same-sex marriage, it was all anyone was talking about. Here's what Romney said yesterday after the president's interview when Romney was asked about his own position.
I have the same view on marriage that I have when I was governor, and that I've expressed many times. I believe marriage is a relationship between a man and a woman.
Well, he also says he does not support civil unions if they have all the same rights as a marriage. Keeping him honest, though, back when Romney was running for Senate against Ted Kennedy in Massachusetts, Romney positioned himself as the gay rights candidate. Romney met with the Log Cabin Club in Massachusetts, a gay Republican group, and in a letter dated October 6, 1994, wrote, quote, "I am more convinced than ever before that as we seek to establish full equality for America's gay and lesbian citizens, I will provide more effective leadership than my opponent." Full equality, those were his words. Romney also writes in the letter, quote, "If we are to achieve the goals we share, we must make equality for gays and lesbians a mainstream concern. My opponent cannot do this, I can and will." A promise from Mitt Romney for equality, full equality for gays and lesbians. Now, one might ask how that can be reconciled with Romney's longstanding position that same-sex marriage should not be legal. What does full equality mean if not fully enjoying the rights of all other citizens, including the right to marry? Well, in a Fox News debate in December, moderator Chris Wallace brought up the Log Cabin letter and asked Romney the following question. Take a look.
So you are still more of a champion of gay rights than Ted Kennedy was?
I do not believe in discriminating against people based upon their sexual orientation. I believe as a Republican, I had the potential to fight for anti-discrimination in a way that would be even better than Senator Kennedy as a Democrat who was expected to do so. At the same time, Chris, in 1994 and throughout my career, I've said I oppose same-sex marriage. Marriage is a relationship between a man and a woman.
Well, it's true that Romney has opposed same-sex marriage throughout his career, but at the same time, he was pledging support for the gay community. In a 1994 interview with the newspaper Bay Windows, Romney said, and I quote, "I think the gay community needs more support from the Republican Party, and I would be a voice in the Republican Party to foster anti-discrimination efforts." Romney was asked about that quote in January's NBC debate, and specifically what he's done to stand up for gay rights. Here's what he said.
From the very beginning in 1994, I said to the gay community, I do not favor same-sex marriage. I oppose same-sex marriage, and that has been my view. But if people are looking for someone who will discriminate against gays or will in any way try and suggest that people that have different sexual orientation don't have full rights in this country, they won't find that in me.
Full rights, full equality, a fight for anti-discrimination, all Mitt Romney's words back then. We'll leave it for you to decide if it makes sense to promote full equality for gays and lesbians and at the same time oppose marriage equality. Romney's position on whether gays should be able to adopt children seems to be open to interpretation as well. Here's what he said on Fox News just today.
And that if two people of the same gender want to live together, want to have a loving relationship, and even want to adopt a child in my state, individuals of the same sex are able to adopt children. In my view, that's something which people have the right to do. But to call that marriage is, in my view, a departure for the real meaning of that word.
Keeping him honest, though, back in 2005, Romney seemed to oppose the idea of same-sex couples raising kids. He was at an event in South Carolina. He said, quote, "Today, same-sex couples are marrying under the law in Massachusetts. Some are actually having children born to them. We've been asked to change their birth certificates to remove the phrase mother and father and replace it with parent A and parent B. It's not right on paper. It's not right in fact. Every child deserves to have a mother and a father. Joining me now live is Romney advisor Kevin Madden and CNN political contributor and Democratic strategist Paul Begala. So, Kevin, full rights, full equality, the words that he used back in 1994, promise not to discriminate against the gay community. How does that square with Romney's position today? What did full equality mean to Romney back then?
Well, I don't know the full context of what the debate was taking place in 1994, but I expect in answering that question and in talking about the issue, he was talking about discrimination, and that he didn't believe that then, as he does now, that we should discriminate against people based on their sexual identity or their sexual orientation, and he still holds true to that belief. I think on the issue of marriage, it comes down to the definition, whether it's the government's how the government defines it and what the contract between two people is, and that his belief is that a marriage should be defined very simply as that as a union between one man and one woman.
But in South Carolina, when he was talking to conservative groups back in 2005, he made it sound as if he didn't like the idea of gay people having kids.
Well, I don't know what the exact specifics of that question or that debate were. I know that there has been a lot of different discussions in different states and in different jurisdictions about what the laws would be as they relate to adoption or gay adoption. That question may have been phrased as one down in South Carolina. I know that in Massachusetts the law differs there than it does differ from other states.
Paul, do you see an evolution in Governor Romney's position from the time he was running in Massachusetts to now?
Well, a devolution. You know, from committing again and again in writing to the Log Cabin Club for full equality, and even now saying, well, I don't support discrimination. Yes, he does. Governor Romney wants to kick people out of the military because they're gay. He wants to reinstate Don't Ask, Don't Tell, which was a discriminatory policy. It kicked people out because of their sexual orientation. He supports amending the U.S. Constitution. This is a man who in writing said he was for full equality. He wants to change our most precious founding document to write discrimination into it.
Paul, I thought Romney said he doesn't want to touch Don't Ask, Don't Tell at this point.
He wants to, I'll go look it up. He's said he wants to reinstate Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Maybe Kevin can tell us, like, last 7 minutes what his new position is. But he has called for reinstating Don't Ask, Don't Tell, Anderson. I'll double-check that. I've been wrong before, but
Kevin, what about that?
Well, Paul, under your definition then, in 1996, President Obama then was for discrimination. And under your definition then, President Clinton, who signed the Defense of Marriage Act, was for discrimination.
That's right. That's right, Kevin. I love President Clinton. I love President Obama. They were for discrimination. They have now evolved, like most of the country. I will say this. This is what's odd. When Mitt Romney was saying he was for full equality, only about 25% of Americans held that view. So that was a pretty bold thing that he was saying back then, that Governor Romney was saying, then Mr. Romney. Today, over 50%. So the American people have been on the same journey that, frankly, former President Clinton has been on and that President Obama has been on. The majority of Americans now have been on the same journey as President Obama, and I think that's why this change of position for President Obama will not likely hurt him, but I think the position for Governor Romney likely will, because he's going the wrong way, frankly, toward more and more discrimination.
There are a lot of Americans out there, Paul, who believe that we shouldn't be discriminating against people because of their sexual orientation, but when it comes to defining marriage, that it should be defined as that of a union between one man and one woman. And I think if you've seen it time and time again when that question has been put to voters, 32 states, 32 times, people have made their voice heard, and that's what they believe should be the definition.
Kevin, doesn't he open himself up to, yet again, another argument about flip-flopping if when he's running in liberal Massachusetts against liberal Ted Kennedy, he's talking about full equality for gays and lesbians, and you don't hear him using that phrase anymore today. Today he's talking about, opposing same-sex marriage and even civil unions.
Well, look, Anderson, I think there's going to be charges of flip-flopping all over during this campaign. That's just what happens, and I think it's up to the voters to really decide. I don't believe that right now voters are going to be talking about what happened 19 years ago or 50 years ago. They're going to be talking about the issues here before us. And I think in this campaign, we have an agreement that there's a very clear contrast on the two candidates and how they define what a marriage should be. Governor Romney believes it should be between a man and a woman. He's made that very clear. He'll continue to make it clear during his campaign. And voters going to the polls that are animated about this particular issue, care about it, will have a clear choice.
Paul, just for accuracy's sake, I just want to read you, I just looked this up. Headline, Romney would preserve open gay service in the military. Mitt Romney indicated he would preserve the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell during an interview with the Des Moines Register editorial board this afternoon. This was on December 9th, 2011.
Okay, I'll stand corrected then. I thought I'd heard him say that he wanted to reinstate it. I guess I was wrong, so I'm happy to be corrected about that. But that is a form of discrimination. I'm glad he doesn't want to go back to it.
Kevin Madden, appreciate you joining us, Paul Begala as well.